Hi, Lisa with Greenhook Studio here with another crochet repair video. These were a bunny and a triceratops. They have been sent to me from Vancouver, Washington for a little time in my stuffed animal hospital. I am going to do my best to help them to look whole again and send them back home. They are in a pretty sad state right now. We've got the bunny's leg nearly off. We've got a hole in the body, a hole in the head, and some loose threads. We will take care of that. Step one is to evaluate the damage and make sure that there aren't any threads that are going to come loose while I am working. And then I will repair anything that I can with the yarn that's already here. And then I am going to use new yarn to patch up holes and sew things back on. I do have some in my stash that matches these pretty well, except for this orange color. I will have to take the bunny on a trip to the craft store to get some dark orange yarn. All right, let's get started. Here I am doing a little once over to try to decide where I want to start and how bad some of this damage is to make game plans. And I decide to go with the leg first. I examine how the leg goes together, how much is missing, and pull apart any broken pieces because I can't repair it with broken pieces hanging out all over the place. So this took a little bit longer to carefully pick out all this so I don't show it all to you as I prepare this piece. But I do have to get this disconnected so that I can crochet new rows and reconnect the leg to make it its proper length again with no holes, no extra pieces hanging out all over the place. So I have to undo a few rows to get it to the unbroken pieces. And now I am crocheting a new row starting here with some of the yarn that was remaining and not completely broken off. And then I will add in my new yarn that I actually had in my stash, the same color. It's one of my favorites. I use it for a lot of different things that I like to make. So I have plenty of it sitting around. So I will just join in the new yarn and crochet as many rows as I need to get it to the proper length to match up with the other piece of its leg and be the same length as the leg that is not broken off. I had to spend a little more time picking at this piece of the leg before I could attach it. And I decided to grab some stitch markers to hold the pieces in place so that I attach it evenly all around and don't put it on crooked or anything like that. These little safety pin style stitch markers are very handy for things like this. They can hold the things in place, but they also a lot of times help me hold threads and loops from unraveling or pulling while I'm working. With the two pieces of leg secured, I can now work on stitching them together. I found one more strand I needed to remove, and now I'm ready to go. I cut a long strand of what I was crocheting with, so it's still connected. There's no extra end to weave in, and I'm using this to sew the two pieces of the leg together, and I am stitching them kind of in between and through the crochet stitches so that it mimics the look of crochet stitches as I sew it together. Now here you'll see me kind of messing with a knot that was on the yarn, and I was too stubborn to actually untie it or fix it. I decided to just work through the pain and leave the manufacturer's knot in the yarn. So every once in a while you see me give this a couple extra tugs. A lot of them I cut out because they took too long. I should have just trimmed it. Now that I've made it all the way around, I can take out the stitch markers and finish off my strand. Just double checking my work here. I will have a little bit of tidying up to do, but it is crocheted and sewn back together. I'm using my crochet hook here to pull the stitches back inside to help tidy up this seam. This little crochet hook was very handy for being able to pull stitches back inside through the other stitches. With this scar tidied up, it is now time to tie off the yarn. I am not needing this anymore. I always use 2 or 3 knots to tie off a strand of thread or yarn when finishing a project like this. For amigurumi or crocheted stuffed animals or dolls, I find it very handy to be able to hide the yarn all the way inside to just give it some extra length to prevent it from ever pulling out. The second leg was not in nearly as bad a shape as the first, but I still gave it a little bit of love, tucking in any loose strands of yarn that had broken off or pulled before I got out my very favorite tool for helping with these types of things, my felting needle. I am using this to help lock the fibers back into place. It not only tucks them in, but it does help to rework them in with their original strands so that they don't unwind again. It really locks them in, and this tool is just immensely helpful for knit and crochet repair projects. If you have any projects like this around the house that have threads that are loose, I very much recommend getting a simple felting needle to help just tuck things in. With the legs finished, now it's time to work on the body. Like I did with the legs, I have to pull out any broken pieces to get down to the solid yarn, the yarn that's attached, so that I know what I'm working with and can get the repairs started. So I will rip out all the loose pieces and clip some pieces that I do not want to unravel while I'm working. And then I will do the same thing with the hole in the head before I get started with the recrocheting of these 2 pieces. With the edges of the holes now prepared, I am ready to dive into recrocheting them. I am starting with the existing yarn and working in the new yarn that I found that matches it. Just reconnecting it and crocheting across the hole, 1 line at a time. I am crocheting over top of the ends of the yarn to lock them into place. And then when I get to the end of the row of what I'm filling in, I will connect it to the edge with a slip stitch. Because this was crocheted in the round and not chain and turn each row, I am finishing that piece off and tucking it inside because I can't just turn and use it the other direction. I will have to just weave these ends in. I'm gonna hide them inside, my favorite thing to do with stuffed animals and amigurumi. And then I will go ahead and do the next row. And I will continue doing that until I have no more hole to fill in. Now I just have one row of this hole to finish, and I'm going to use a little bit of a different technique to close it up. What I'm going to do is, after joining my new yarn, I will slip through the old stitches that are disconnected and then single crochet into the row that I need to do. And I'm going to do this all the way across so that it closes the hole. It basically sews it shut with a slip stitch and catches those crochet stitches so that they don't unravel more as I go across. So I slip through the top, single crochet in the row in the bottom, and make sure that I'm keeping everything straight, everything tucked in, as I slowly make my way across the last piece of this hole. A little adjustment and checking before I tie it off. I'm going to use the tail of the yarn to just kind of close up some spots that seem a little extra loose, to just give it a little extra support, a little more closure on some of these stitches. And then I will fasten off, as I always do, 2 or 3 knots and hide it inside. Now it's time to tackle the big hole on the back of its head. I am going to mend this hole very similarly to how I filled in the smaller hole on the body. I'm going to use new yarn to crochet across and attach to the sides of the hole, each row at a time, and weave in or hide inside any loose ends along the way. This last row I need to mend a little bit differently because it's not missing its crochet stitches all the way across, only in part of the row. So I cut an extra long piece to sew with, and I will sew across to attach these stitches to each other until I get to where the crochet stitches are missing further down the row, and I will use this same piece of yarn to crochet them in and finish up the mend. With that hole closed up, all that's left to do is tighten a few of these stitches up like I did on the previous hole on the body using the tail here. Then I will weave in the ends, tie a knot, and just double check to make sure that I haven't missed anything, and then he'll be finished. And now this bunny and its Triceratops friend are completely repaired and ready to go home. I'm very pleased with how this turned out, and I think the bunny's family is too. If you missed the Triceratops video, I will post the link below. If you have items that you would like to have repaired, knit, crochet, or stuffed animal, please reach out to me, greenhookstudio@gmail.com, or look up more information on my website, greenhookstudio.com. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you back here real soon.